So today is Wednesday, July 13th. This is a regular meeting of the Advisory Committee on Sustainability. We have a quorum. The meeting is being called to order at 12:01. This meeting is being held by video conference only on the town's GoToMeeting platform as indicated on the agenda posted with the town clerk and on the town's website. The first item on the agenda is to approve past minutes, which were emailed. There were a couple sets of minutes emailed to you. The first ones are from a regular meeting on June 8th. Are there any comments on these minutes?
They look good to me.
Yeah, the only thing, Christine, that the town clerk pointed out is that it says regular meeting agenda. If you could just change that to minutes.
Sure.
Okay, great. So Cliff, is that a motion to approve the minutes from the regular meeting on June 8th?
So moved.
Can I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Great. Thank you. The second set of minutes is from a special meeting on June 16th. Same thing, Christine, if you could just change it. There was one set where I changed it on the Google Doc, but on the other one, I wasn't able to edit it. So you'll have to change that one. And then they're fine. Do I have a motion to any discussion about these minutes? Comments, questions? Do I have a motion to approve the minutes from the special meeting on June 16th? Cliff?
So moved.
Second. Craig, all in favor? Okay, great. So, Christine, you'll make those changes and then file them with the town clerk?
Yes.
Great, thank you. The next meeting on the agenda, we're going to go through these things very briefly because we want to spend most of the meeting talking about our sustainable CT application. Recycling, just a reminder to the public that if you haven't already, you need to affix the new purple sticker to your car window. The new permits were required effective July 1st. Food scraps, just very briefly, I have the tonnage for the month of June. And it's just under 3 tons, which is a little bit about almost a ton less than usual. And it's just, again, I think it's a reflection of, people not being in town. So I just wanted to report on that. Anything, Dan? I know the swap shop is reopened on Saturday. Anything to report on the swap shop?
No, nothing much going on. Even Saturdays are quiet. So
Again, a lot of people are out
say
of
that.
town.
Yeah.
So just a reminder, the swap shop has reopened on
What's that?
Saturday from, is it
8 to
9
12.
to, pardon?
8 to 12. 8 to 12.
8 to 12. Okay,
8 to
great.
12.
Okay. Marketing, outreach, and education. The only thing I wanted to mention is that we did try something a little different this year. We were able to put an insert on the food scrap program in with the annual tax bill. Did you all notice that? Did anybody? Okay. We kind of borrowed this idea from Greenwich. They found it helpful, and I'm hoping that it'll be interesting to see if it was worthwhile, if there are, any or many new people who come in and purchase kits. Hi, Kathy, to see if that was worthwhile. Great. So then we're moving on to the sustainable CT application. And Craig, you said that you were able to share your screen so we can look at the application. And Kathy, you're gonna take us through it, right?
Yes. I did want to mention one thing, and I had pulled it up, if it's okay, that the group Live Green that does work with information about electric school buses, police vehicles, things of that nature, is developing a tool to develop having a tool for municipalities to help figure out or talk about or install electric charging stations, and they're kind of putting something together to assist as people all over the place are trying to figure out what to do. And a piece of this is going to include some pilot programs for zoning commissions and zoning boards and zoning officers to look at their zoning requirements, and whether in some cases they prohibit charging stations or allow them, but under conditions. So as that material comes out, it certainly, all of that would be post our application here, but some of this is the same kind of stuff that's on Sustainable CT. And I just want us to
Great.
know that people are all over the place beginning to, come up against, whether it's at a new development or in a municipal lot, how to go about figuring out how to establish and then account for and charge for electricity. So keep you posted on that.
Great. Thank you so much.
Okay.
So here we are looking, the beginning of the application.
Yep.
Yeah,
Great.
big picture, I'll let Kathy go, but if you're at the top and you check either planned or completed, it'll sort just those items that are either planned or completed. So with the checkbox here at completed, the summary on the right shows us where we're at. We've got completed items in 7 of 12 categories and a total of 205 points completed. So if we then click planned next to it, it shows that we do have planned actions in 12 categories and up to 445 planned points, although I don't expect all of those
Right.
plans will turn into completed.
Right. Or that we'll get credit for everything that we complete.
So I don't know, what do you want to look at first, Kathy?
Oh, well, I think we will start with one, which there's some work going on that we can handle as a Cliff and I and Carolyn is needed offline, but 1.1 is required. Optimize for equity. Each action that's approved under there would be 10 points. We are anticipating that we do have one that will get done. There are 2 others that we're working on that we're still kind of finding our way through. One just we may run out of time, and the other one that Cliff's been working on still has to be written up with some components that Sustainable CT is asking for. So if we leave 1.1 alone, we could go on to 2. And just, I think Carolyn and I were hoping that whoever has been working on those can state whether they're still planned or not, and if there's any to-dos that we can all assist with or work that needs to be done. So, 2.3, inventory and promote local products. So everybody should jump in if they're working on them.
That's me, and I am working on it. And hold on, let me see. I am literally just waiting for Kate Booch and Linda O'Leary to get back to me. I just need it on the website, and then I can submit it. Like, I'm holding up with that, like, for 3 things right now, just waiting for them to get on the website.
Okay, so 2.3 is looking good and you're on it?
I'm done. It's literally done, except for that one little teeny tiny thing that I needed on the website.
You just need the screenshot of the website, right?
No, I need it to be put somewhere on the town website as a link. It has to be. It's part of the action. So I'm just waiting, not very patiently.
And Carolyn, is this part of a sort of, I don't know whether you've been talking to Kate, if this was on the list we were verifying with Kate. Secondarily, didn't you say Linda's away?
No, this one was not. I did send her a list of some items, but I wasn't aware that this was something that needed to be done. I had contacted Linda to see how we should, who we should contact about putting things on the town website. And she said that it would be her. And I think I
Okay.
sent an email around saying that she's going to be on vacation next week. So the sooner
Okay.
you can get things to her, the better. She will be back the following week. So,
Okay.
but
No, I
you
did.
know,
I sent an email last week and then I sent a follow-up email yesterday.
okay. Sometimes she has to check with the department heads of whatever department that belongs to see, to make sure that it's okay. And because I know that that happened with one of my action items, but it has been put on the town website now. So
Okay. So 2.4 is that still plan provide resources and supports to local businesses.
That's me, right? Hold on. No, hold on. Yes, that is done. I have already submitted everything. Liam said it looked good. I'm just waiting to see if Sustainable CT has anything to say about it.
Right on the website, it
we
says
should change that to
incomplete
complete
field.
then.
Well, it says incomplete, so I sent an email to Liam asking him, telling him it still says incomplete. Can you just let me know what is going on? And so I'm waiting to hear. I sent him like 10 emails in the past 2 days, so I think he's probably overwhelmed.
I
Now,
think
maybe
it
our
could,
Out
this
of the
one down
office.
here, you see this? I've gone to the action item on the website. It's
Okay.
actually required that you check one of these boxes here.
Oh, so maybe I need to do
Yeah.
that. Okay.
So this is easy. So was this a previously completed action with no sustainable CT influence? Was it an action previously planned with completion influenced by sustainable CT, or was it a new action inspired by sustainable CT?
It was a, well, do we want to be honest? And it just happened to happen, and were you taking credit for it? But we could just say new
Would we have
action.
done this without? Yeah, I guess.
New action.
So I'm going to
Does-
save that.
does Lily have
Save
any
it.
comments
I'm going to turn
on
to
that?
completed.
Just one thing to let you all know, Liam won't be available he's like out of the office, so he'll be replying to emails like past 5 p.m. So if you have any like questions that need to be answered during business hours, it'd be great if you could CC me as well.
All right, Lily, I will send them to you.
Okay. So
Ready.
Lily,
Great.
as far as to,
All right, so that worked, by the way,
okay,
Christine. It got rid of the incompleted fields note. And I've
Okay,
moved it
thank
to
you.
completed.
Lily, is that one that you all had looked at before and said was okay? So we in a place with 2.4 that we just can move on?
I think
should be.
Christine said they looked at it and said it looked fine, right?
Yeah, Liam said it looked good, so I think I probably
Okay.
that might have
Okay,
been the
I'm
little thing
sorry.
that was,
Okay,
Yeah, no.
2.6 is still planned.
Yeah,
Participate and see
2.6.
pace.
Yep, we're in pretty good shape with that, Kathy. We will almost certainly get 10 points, and I'm hoping to get 15 points if we can fulfill the requirements for one of the elements of the action item. So I have started to upload the information into it, but I haven't marked it as complete because
Okay.
I'm waiting to see if we can. I'm quite sure that we can fulfill the third component.
Okay, and at this point, we have things completed into, and this is adding
Yes.
to it. Okay.
If I had to hit the complete button, I would.
Okay, so that takes us into 3, I think, the well-stewarded
Yes.
land and natural resources, and watershed education was completed, is that correct?
Yes. Yes. And it's been, Liam and Lily reviewed it and they said that it looked okay.
Now,
The
Caroline, is that just the two things I put in, or did you have a third?
Mine was in there as well.
Okay,
The unified water study, that was
that's not
in
the
there for 5
education.
points. Pardon?
Is this is watershed education, not water study?
So
Yeah,
can we
but
open?
but it's educational as it was a different component. It was a citizens no, it wasn't citizen science. It fits with it.
Okay.
I put in all the information and it's been reviewed.
Okay.
As part of 3.1, Carolyn?
Yes.
Okay, and then 3.4 was develop an open space plan.
Yeah, that's
Craig,
me.
was you working on
That's
that,
me.
right?
It's completed, and I believe it's been reviewed as well.
Okay. 3.6, manage for drought and municipal water use. Was that related to the drought management ordinances?
So Kathy, we have a long-standing town ordinance that describes what triggers they actually don't refer to it as a drought ordinance. It's a water emergency. But it's basically, it's in the spirit of that. It hasn't been updated since 2002. That's one of the items that I'm working with Kate on, and I believe that we will get 10 points for this.
And again, this at this point is, if this one, again, we want the points cumulative, but there's a little wiggle room, for example, on that one, if you can't get Kate to do this in the next couple of weeks. I guess we're running out of
Yes.
time on, so I'm just trying to think of the ones that are still have work, and Kate's name is going to be
Yeah,
how much
no,
we can
this
get
one I
through.
have information, Kathy, I have information
Yeah.
from her on this one.
So, and where we need
I
help.
got feedback from her on this one is what I meant to say, yes.
Yeah.
So I'm
Okay.
confident that I will be able to mark this as complete very soon.
Is 3.7 education on responsible water usage says planned, but is that
Yeah,
different?
that wasn't one I was working on. I don't know. I think that actually had your name next to it, Kathy, on the Google
spread
spreadsheet.
Well, I'm not working on that, so I think
So
we could
that should be
probably unplan
unplanned
that.
then.
Okay. And then low impact
Yeah.
development.
This is me, and I don't think we're going to get it.
Okay.
The remaining item, so I was going to apply for the porous asphalt parking lots that were installed at Highland Farm, but one of the requirements of the action item is to install signs saying what you did and why it mattered. We have a quote for those signs, but at this point, no one in town is willing to pay for them.
So Craig, I just wanted to mention that
Yeah.
Christine and I are meeting with Joseph Dickerson from Sustainable CT tomorrow about a possible community match fund for this. What it basically means is the quote was around $2,000. Sustainable CT will match 1,000 if we can raise 1,000. The town can only put in up to $200, so it means we would have to raise $800 from a minimum of 10 community members. So what do you think the likelihood of that is?
I would like to try for it.
Okay, then
and I
we'll
think
do it.
and I think we can do it. I just don't think we'll be able to execute all of that and order the
Right.
signs before the application is due. But I still think it's a
Sure.
good idea to have signs there.
Do you want to join us on the meeting tomorrow? It's at 11:05. It's a 20-minute meeting, or do you want to just rely on us
Probably
to
not.
pass?
You can send me an invite, but
Okay.
I've got. So
I'll send it to you and you can decide.
So yeah, we can leave it
there.
Plan until it's totally DOA. And I guess
Okay.
now, do you want me to wait till you have your meeting? Because the other thing I could do was go maybe before the meeting, maybe shortly, I can send an email back to Kate saying, hey, we're going to talk about getting a grant. This is how it works. Is the town willing to find $200 if we're able to raise the other $1,800? And so I'll.
No, only 800, Craig, because Sustainable CT will choose 1,000.
We would be raising the other 1,800 by partly getting the $1,000 matching.
Oh, yes.
Partly finding $800.
So Ed has a little fund that he might be able to pull $200 out of.
I would think he would.
I wonder with that, Craig, and again, Lily on the call here, how far, if in the next 3 weeks we set up the match, we have the design of the sign, how far we would need to be along with that to be able to submit it? I mean, does it have to be installed or finalized, or
that was my question. If the sign is on order and we got it coming in, is that close enough?
Typically, Sustainable CT wants to see it like already in action, but it's definitely something I can ask about, and maybe there's a little bit of flexibility, but I'd have to double check with.
So the work is done. Basically, the work is done. The the low impact development is done, and the element being installing the sign, we're working on funding that with Sustainable CT in our community. So the question is not to install the walkways, it's just to have the sign installed that explains the project. That's the piece that's missing.
Definitely.
I
I
guess,
can bring
but-
that to Mary at Sustainable CT and ask. Typically they like want things to be completed, but maybe if you guys had like demonstrated the day that you're gonna install it, and maybe it's like sometime late August or
Yeah.
early September, maybe that would work, but I'd have to double
Sure.
check. But I can
Okay.
bring that to her.
Thank you. That's a
I
good
would
one.
think that if we could demonstrate tangibly that we had the money for the sign, that would be
And that it's been ordered.
pretty
Yeah.
persuasive.
As soon as we have the money, it'll be ordered. So
Right. And the design is done. I mean, we know what it would say.
Well, yeah.
Generally,
what we
the wording.
want on the sign is known. The
Absolutely.
$2,000 estimate from the sign company includes 4 hours of graphic design to clean it up.
Right. Thank you. Okay, so we're just kind of keeping these, the real little hint, that's one that's a question mark. 3.8, but we'll leave it as planned for now.
Yep.
And go on to 3.12, enhance the pollinator pathway. And I know there's been a lot of work in that.
There's a lot, yes. It's just a question of putting it all together. I've been gathering the information, and I will be uploading that information soon, within the week.
Do you think it's still only 5 points, or do you think it's more?
I actually wrote down that I think we can get 20 points in here. I think we get 5 points for 3.12.1 and 15 points for 3.12.2.
Right.
Where we probably don't get the points is for the pollinator-friendly resolution, which would be 20 points. But that was one thing I did ask about.
All right, I put that up to 20 points.
Yes, put that as 20.
All right. 4, vibrant and creative cultural ecosystems. 4.1, tourism and cultural assets. That was you, Christine, right?
It says it's completed, but it is not completely completed. The part that's completed is 4.1.2. I am still working on 4.1.1, which is 10 points, but that is the last piece of the puzzle is working with Nancy Starner, and we're working on a interactive and searchable map to go on the municipal website, or the town website. So as soon as that's done, it'll be uploaded.
Do you want me to leave
cultural assets are done.
Christine, do you want it as planned or completed?
I would say planned, because I'm still, it's not totally done yet.
But you could.
Is this the one where you?
Sorry.
Is this the one, Christine, where you need photographs? You need photographs of the various things. So
yeah, I have photographs for all of them. Yeah, but I have some of the ones you sent me. My question is, and it came about last night when I was going through the list of tourism and cultural assets, is that we don't have churches or restaurants on there, and some towns include those. So I talked to Cliff about it, but I wanted to get what you guys think. Really, you two. Because I started adding them, but I'm not sure. Like, do we need to have everything our town offers? I mean, is
that duplicating what the chamber did with their app?
Basically, yes.
I can't see a restaurant as a cultural asset.
And they change all the time.
Right, I agree with Cliff.
Okay. What about churches?
Maybe just to say something like, there are, a number of local eateries, and maybe just that could be, and then there could be a link maybe to the chamber that lists all the restaurants.
Well, I'm trying to get a link for the Chamber of Commerce on the website, on the town website as well. So if I can get that, I think it'll qualify for both. But I also have this massive sheet and then the map that Nancy and I are doing. So there's going to be all sorts of things to qualify for points.
I think you should leave it to what you're working on and get it right. I mean, once it's there and we all have a chance to really look at it or use it, there's the opportunity to make edits would be okay in the future.
I think that
that's hard to have to say.
I think that in my opinion, there are some churches that are actually historic assets.
Yes, but that's that's 5.5 that I'm working on. They're there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, well, because like, what's the one over off of Old Kings Highway there by the
Congregational church by the rink.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I said as well. We don't have Notre Dame, but we do have the Congregational church by the hockey rink and also Talmadge Hill Community Church. Those are both historical buildings.
Yeah.
Yes, and those are going on the historical buildings thing. 5.5.
Okay, good.
Well, there
So
was
we
probably
would-
some overlap between the
2
two.
I'm working on. Sorry, I just have to go get my daughter. 4.2, I am just recreating the wheel on what was done last time. And I
Okay,
think we can get points for that.
4.2. Okay, sorry to be moving this around a lot, but let me.
yeah.
So
okay.
Christine,
You're giving me
that
a
just
headache.
needs to show that it's, for rolling credit, you just need to show that it's been reviewed by whom and when and whether it needs updating or not.
Right. So yeah, working on that. I think it's just a matter of pulling a few things off the town website, but that it's in the works.
Okay.
And then
So
4.4, I had marked that I was going to do, but I don't think I'm going to. I don't think I'm
Okay.
going to get to it.
Okay, 4.1 and
Yeah,
4.2
just focus
are
on the
planned.
ones that we need.
And I'm working on 5.5. Just FYI.
Do you want
Is
to?
that the historic? Yeah.
Yeah, inventory
It's
and
planned.
assess historic resources.
Okay,
All right, I have to run. I'll be back.
bye-bye.
Okay.
So going to 5, the integrated.
Integrate
I thought-
sustainability into plan of conservation and development.
Craig, even with my reading glasses on the screen, the letters get really small.
Is that better?
Better, a little better. Thank you. As old people.
This one was me.
Mhm.
There's two different action items with 2 different worksheets. I completed them. I submitted them for comment. They look pretty good. I'm actually editing one of them to kind of bolster our case. So I'm still in the middle of editing that one, but I put it in as complete anyway, but I know I have to edit it and re-upload it. But that's a good category for us at 30 points, and I'm feeling pretty good about it.
Good. And so we're anchored in that category.
Yes. And
Okay.
5.4, we really couldn't pull. I couldn't find a way to do 4. So you
So
can
let's change it.
unplanned it. That was under
Okay.
me.
Mhm.
5.5 is Christine. So that looks
Christine.
like that category has actions.
Yeah, she's done a lot of work on that, so that should be done.
All right, moving to 6. The 6.4 support zero emission vehicles is completed. That deployment, that was completed by the attendance of 3 people from Ed's group. Tony, were you one of them at that?
Yes.
Okay, and 3 people from the police department. And
So
so
has the information been loaded or just
I loaded
action?
the
Okay.
information
Okay.
into the
So you want
and
me to
asked
finish
for
to
someone
complete
to
it?
review it. Yes, it would be 5 points by attendance at the educational webinar. It was noted that Darien had 6 people meeting with the speakers from Westport and Fairfield and several other communities around the country, and it really was limited to police and their staffs to discuss cars and the things that would be important as that application. So that's where we're at. Tony, any feedback that I could put? I filled it out and it's complete, but is there any specific feedback I could add to the narrative?
It was mainly geared towards police vehicle and police activity. And the people on there were just so for electric vehicles and saying they were all skeptics to start with, and they would never turn back. For us, in terms of public works, it would really only be fly cars, people going out doing inspections, things like maybe the building department or planning and zoning, and police. Not so much for public works, but it just little information.
Thank you.
Okay.
Okay.
Should 6.2 still be in here?
I think that had your name next to it, Craig.
That had
Oh.
Ed's name next to it.
Oh,
Provide
Ed's, okay.
effective parking. If you want to open it up and just take a look, but I don't know that anyone's.
Yeah, I looked at it and I briefly spoke to Ed about whether there had been any recent studies, and he said, or any recent like relining of parking spots or anything, and he said not that, they do some informal like counts and things like that, but I don't think enough to fulfill this action item.
Okay, so we should.
Unplanned. So we have only the one item in that category.
Choose one non-regulatory actions. Connected parking areas, create shared parking. I'm going to take a look at this one.
Okay, good.
And this one's a pretty low bar. If there are two different users with different demand times using shared parking,
We could, but do you have to do both? Choose one person.
Implement non-regulatory and regulatory parking management strategies. Up to non-regulatory actions 15. Choose one per certification cycle.
You're right. That is a kind of a low bar.
Yeah.
Well, I think it's something that actually exists in the parking lot by the Darien Sports Shop.
Yeah, well, no, I mean, there's a bunch of, I guess there's, time frame for credit, right? So we have to look at ones that maybe are more recent. But
unless we didn't get credit for it last time, Craig, then it wouldn't have to be rule. In other words, if it could be rolling credit if it existed before, but we didn't get credit for it. You
actually,
just have
you know
to
what?
show.
I'm looking at regulatory actions. I'm sorry to interrupt.
It's okay.
We actually changed the town's parking requirements in the zoning regulations this last year, largely to reduce required parking for both commercial and residential uses.
You want to take a look at that one?
Yeah, I'm going to take a look at this one. We'll leave it as
So let's
planned.
keep it as planned.
Yeah, and I mean, Craig, that's all part of the less parking required.
Yeah, we reduced our residential parking too, which was the state
and
housing one, and
right, and so with some of the related to the housing and transit-oriented development and all those kind of.
So what was that one?
Subjects
that
had that. Was 6.1
or 2?
6.2, I think it was.
2.
And
okay.
I'll look at that. 6.2.
Great. Thank you, Craig.
Yeah. That on our originally spreadsheet had Ed's name next to it. So
okay.
He's not here to.
He does manage a lot of town parking, under the DPW umbrella. So.
But I would think with some of the newer developments where some of the requirements
I think we'll get points there, but we'll
great. Okay.
7-1. I think I know someone who knows about this. Carolyn and Tony, have you all? It says it's completed.
Well, I marked it as completed, but what we actually need to do is wait to get something from Amy Thompson that we can attach. She sent us like a preliminary copy of the benchmark and tracking spreadsheet, which I put it into a PDF and attached it just so there would be something there. But I'm told that in a couple of weeks, it takes a couple of weeks for her to finalize it, and then that will be uploaded. Is that right, Tony?
Well, we have that. I don't know where we have that verifier scheduled through the state.
Oh, that's in the next one.
Different category. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, that's okay.
Oh yeah, so the benchmarking is done, which is the final. We have the draft report. We're waiting for the final report.
Right, which takes 2 weeks from when she said it was done, which was the better part of a week ago. So
okay, so you're going to end up replacing the uploaded draft report with the uploaded final report,
yes.
basically.
Yep.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. And then 7.3 was the high energy for individual buildings.
Yeah, do you want
And
to talk
that's
about
where
that
we're-
one, Tony?
Yeah.
Okay, so because the results of the benchmarking show that there are 4 buildings that qualified, and I think we talked about before, there was some kind of grant money or through Eversource to pay for the verifier. So we went ahead with that. And because of Carolyn's efforts, we were first on the list. So this company is supposed to be calling me.
They haven't called, they haven't reached out
No,
yet?
so I called them today. And just left a message saying who I was and that we're supposed to get together and do this work. So hopefully I hear back from them soon. They're
So
in New
we're
Haven.
going to submit on 4 buildings.
Yes.
Yes.
And okay, so this suggests that we could get 5 points per building if the
20
verifiers
points.
concur.
Yes.
Okay, so I'm going to change this to 20 points. To 20 points.
Green Banyan Consulting is the verifier, if anyone knows them.
Okay.
But they are in New Haven. So
Okay.
so hopefully they reach out back with me and we get it going.
Yeah, I mean, the way Amy Thompson described it is that each verification of each building takes 2 to 3 hours, and they may have follow-up questions, which we may need to get further information on. And then once they're satisfied, they then submit it to the EPA, and it's just a question of how long it takes them to, if it's been verified, there's nothing more for them to do other than to just approve it. So
Right.
we would need to actually have that certification in order to get the points. But it's looking pretty good so far. And as Tony said, we are first in the queue in terms of getting the verifier to physically come out here. So hopefully
Yeah, keep
it will be
pressing. When's
good.
our application deadline?
It's like Lily, is it like the 22nd of August?
It's August 23rd at 12 p.m.
Okay, the 23rd. So we can have everything else done and just, leading. I mean, I don't want to submit it that day. I'd like to submit it before then just because I get nervous. But, we can wait up until close to the 23rd. And, if we have it, great. And if we don't, we just hit send. But it's a great thing to have anyway, whether we get the points or not. I mean, I think we're going to be okay in our point count. So.
All right.
It will be frosting.
I will admit that the hold a sustainability event, I did not work on this at all. And the other one
I've been doing
there,
some work on it, Kathy. Maybe I can share with you what I've put together and you can add anything that you can think of. But it's not just like, you can't just say, oh, there was a cleanup of Selleck Woods on April 24th. It's like, you've got to, indicate how many people you showed up, what the town's involvement is, what the relationship with the town is. And in that case with Selleck's Woods, it's that the town, it's town property and town DPW provided wood chips. And then you also have to, there's lessons learned or next steps. I mean, it's kind of a complicated thing to do for 15 different events. But the last time
go ahead. I think we used the farmer's market.
We did. We used the farmer's market like 15 times. No, like 12 times. And I think we can use the farmer's market again for a few of them because it continues to exist. But I don't think we can get away with filling the whole action item with farmer's market this time. I have quite a few things. A lot of them are related to the pollinator pathway. Some of them are related to our compost giveaway. I'll share with you what I have, and then I'll share it with all of you, and you can all think, did you know of something that qualifies as a sustainable event? But again, you've got to kind of have it. Like, for example, there was a showing of a movie at the library. I forget the name of it just now, but I have to email the library to see how many people approximately showed up for this. Otherwise, it can't be counted. And there was a discussion of, Elizabeth Colbert's book, Under a White Sky, that was sponsored by the library, held at the Nature Center. I know people who went. I just don't know how many. So, I mean, there's like little pieces that need to be fit in order for us to get the credit.
And if you list it in a way where it's, information, 6 events, these are the 3 things we know, and leave the blanks, maybe some of us could do some of that digging as well,
Good idea.
to finish it. You kind of chart it.
So, how many points do you want to leave as planned on this item? 1 event is 5 points, 5 to 10 events is 10 points, over 10 events is 15 points.
I think we can get 15 points here.
Okay.
The problem is that some of the events we're also using for points, that like some of the pollinator pathway things we're using for credit in other areas of the application, and I don't
You're
think
allowed
that
to do
it can be
that.
listed. Pardon?
You can. Some of these things overlap. I assume that's fine. Do you have any comment on that,
Yes.
Lily?
If you want to be conservative, you could make it be 10 points, 5 to 10 events, and that's if some get knocked out or something, it's because they're duplicates. But
I agree.
I would say ask for the 15, and then if something doesn't qualify, they'll let you know in the review process.
Yeah,
Sure.
we'll ask for
And
15,
all
but
you
in
have.
terms of our planning and trying to understand where we are, I think we should just put 10.
Okay.
Well, yeah, but this is the application, right? So when we click send, that's got to say 15 points if we're asking for 15 points, right? And they'll may come back and say, sorry, you only get 10.
But
Okay.
that's right. But when you decide to complete it, that's when you would put the points you want, right?
Yes.
Okay.
If we have to edit it, if we can't even write 15, obviously we have to change that. If we write 6, we have to change that when we submit. That's if you want to
Okay.
do it that way. I don't really care.
I'll try
Okay.
to get my list together and circulate it to everyone.
The community communications 8.2, we said yes, but there was no name with that one, so I'm not sure that anyone worked on that.
I have not.
No, but I was looking at it the other day and talking to you about that, Carolyn, and it looks like it's
Yeah.
just a matter of gathering information. So,
Oh.
I mean, if we need to, I can do that. We need some points.
And just something to add, your tax bill would definitely fall under that. I think I can't remember the exact number, but I can send it over. But that would qualify as community.
Okay, so all
outreach.
elements
There you go, Carolyn.
must be received. Inventory communications channels. I don't know that
we actually have, especially now that we have the biweekly newsletter and we have the communications person in the first selectman's office, there's a lot of information coming out of town hall. I mean, we really should, and whether it fulfills all these, all these little
certainly
points, I'm not sure. I
A
haven't
is
really.
developing a strategy which is engaging community stakeholders.
Yeah.
That seems to be an action we haven't necessarily take. And then there's implement the strategy. I mean,
Is it the more points you get, or is it
we have our Instagram and Facebook feed. We have the town's Instagram and Facebook feed. You're out there. We're doing articles in the Neighbor magazine. We do a letter to the editor every now and again. We did the mailer. I mean, there's definitely stuff we're doing.
Yes.
I guess someone's just got to take a close look at the words in here and whether or not they think we can add all of those things up.
I can tell you that I did look at this a little bit in conjunction with the last item, 13, I think it is, where you do a special event, and the special event that, or the special sustainability action that we agreed we would look at is slow down in town. And I looked at their communication strategy for that, which I thought was absolutely outstanding. I mean, there were postcards mailed, banners created, magnets for cars, emails. I mean, you name it, they did it. And I asked if this was something that had come from, a strategy, a communication strategy that the town uses. And the answer was no. It was ad hoc for this event. And to go back and now try to create a strategy, I think it's going to entail a lot of different groups and people, and getting it approved and so on. I mean, we're asking for a simple resolution from the Board of Selectmen, and I don't know if we're going to get it. So I'm pessimistic about this.
Yeah, and it's like this is more of a report saying this is how we will use our communication channels and when and how.
Yep.
And, write it and follow a worksheet,
Yep.
and I don't know. Yeah.
Well, I think the only other way to look at that, just toss this around. The town did create a position. I do not know who the person is. That is a communications person.
Oh, really?
There had to have been some effort to deem the need to have a person, and isn't that person Carolyn working?
Yeah. Oh shoot, what's her name?
She's very active. She
Marley
posts
Hayes,
on
right?
Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. She does the biweekly newsletter. She puts a lot of information out. So
Yeah.
But
right. I mean, like,
has she drafted a strategy that has been approved? Has she consulted other groups, or has she just decided what she thinks needs to be done? Which is fine. I mean, I think that's probably what she did. She just decided what needed to be done, and she's doing it. But this requires you to reach out and check with everybody and blah, blah, blah.
yeah.
So is there someone willing to raise their hand saying they'll chase this down further? And it seems like one requirement would be to have a conversation with that communications person. Or should we just click to
I will.
unplanned?
I'm headed out of town, so 10 days from now, this is something I could conceivably look into. And if it meant emailing this person and finding out, because if the job was established and budgeted, there had to be some rationale to have a person to coordinate communication. And to me, that would be whether that would be acceptable to Sustainable CT, but that would have to be what the write-up is, Craig. I think you're right. So obviously collecting the Facebooks, the weekly newsletters, and the things that she does or other people do around her, that's sort of just data collection. But what if I tried to just reach out and how her position came to be under what the objectives were, to see if it was even plausible? Would that make sense?
Yeah, I mean, let's look into it. If it's an easy 15 points, let's get them. If it's not, then let's click it to unplanned. So you let us know whether it should stay planned or go to unplanned, and you can do that yourself too.
Yeah, I'll have to. Do you all remember her name, or I'll just get
no, it's Marley Hayes.
Marley?
I can send you her contact information, Kathy.
Okay. All righty. All right, so that would be
8.2.
2, and 8.3 was a matter of gathering for training. It was planned.
Yep. It is. I have 2 out of the 3 completed. We will get 10 points here, definitely, and I'm hoping for 15 points. I'm just waiting to hear back from Jeremy about some trainings that on housing that some of our planning and zoning commissioners may have done since 1/1/19. So if 3 or more did, we would get the extra 5 points.
If the other thing is, if I'll keep following up with Live Green, but if their training session on electric charging, which is aimed at zoning commissioners and zoning commissions and officers, might be another one. It's going to be training / webinar, it'll be an education thing. Apparently there's a lot that goes into it. So
if you
I'll keep
can
my
get
eye,
one
and
or
it might, it would be in late July, early August, I think. So I'll keep my eye out for that I'll make myself a note.
Yeah, because we could conceivably switch around what the webinars are, like the one that, well, we'll talk about it offline, but we could switch things around and possibly get, if if one or more attend it, we could switch things around, and then what I'm getting credit for in A, I could move to C. It's silly how
I'm just thinking, oh, we should keep an eye out for anything we know of that somebody does now. I mean, also, did Tony and Ed, any of them attend any kinds of work in the areas that are requested here?
These are actually municipal representatives, not like town employees. So I do have credit in the area where it's non-EPC, non-P&Z people. It's focused mostly on P&Z, but there is B is where you get credit. And I reached out to some chairmen of various committees and commissions, and I did get feedback. So that part is completed. I've got enough information there.
Okay, I'm not trying to make it more complicated, just trying to add in if you need
more.
Yeah, no,
great. Yeah.
Okay. Collaborate with other municipalities.
So I don't know if any of you have anything on this, but I'm thinking that we should be able to get credit for the mentorship that we provided to New Canaan for deciding whether they wanted to erect a swap shop, because that was actually a number of visits, a number of emails, a number of phone calls, and I actually did reach out to my contact in New Canaan to see if she agreed with me that we that we served as a mentor for them for this action item. And if so, like, what was the result? Like, I believe they are planning to put in a swap shop, but I don't know for a fact. And, I don't know when it would be. So I'm waiting to hear back from her, but we may be able to get 5 points here unless someone can think of something else.
Well, haven't you also mentored several towns with food scraps?
Yeah, but Cliff, you have to look at what the requirements are, and we just don't meet the bar. I was actually going to put in the comments that, I was going to put in the comments that we've done exactly that, but it doesn't meet the requirement of this action item.
We did more for the swap shop in your assessment after reading the action item, and that is the one that we'll likely get credit for.
There was more of a mentorship function with the swap shop because it was like working with a community in a much more intense way, whereas the other things on the food scrap programs were a lot of phone calls, inquiries, forwarding of information. I mean, it's hard to quantify. They ask for the number of hours, the number of times. I mean, I can go back and I can find all my emails. I can't go back and find all the phone calls.
If you think we can get 5 points for the swap shop, let's get 5 points.
I think we should be able to get 5 points here. Yeah. I'm pretty sure that we can.
Awesome. 9.1 is mine, and I don't know why it says 25 points. I'm going to look at that right now. I'm worried about it, but the candle isn't out yet. The issue is being able to granularly count our MSW so we can relate it as pounds per capita for at least 2 years. So first of all, I don't think we're going to get 5 points or 25 points. I think maybe we'll get 5 points. So I'm going to leave it on as planned for 5 points. But it depends on Darren Ostfine being able to get data from our haulers quickly in order to complete this item.
Right, because that has to be for 2 years, right?
It has to be for 2 years, yep. And we have 1 year. And I've done some math magic to get it down to pounds per capita, but we need a second year. So it's a tentative 5-point planned.
Okay.
9.3. 40 points.
Oh, okay.
planned.
Yep, we should get full credit in this for this action item. I haven't uploaded it yet because at the conclusion of every fiscal year, which ends June 30th, Darren does a report to the Department of Energy and Environmental Protection, which is what I largely use to fulfill this, and I'm waiting for the most recent one. And if I have to, I can use last year's, but if he's going to have it done by August 1st, I'd prefer to use the current year, fiscal year, and we will be asking for rolling credit here, and we should get full credit, 40 points here.
Okay. And the food waste prevention campaign or food scraps recovery campaign.
So
Obviously,
yeah,
we set that up the last time.
Right. So I don't think I'm going to be able to do 9.41, which is kind of if I have time at the end, I will do it. But it's basically a food waste prevention campaign that you then put on the town website and you publicize. And I don't think I can get that done. I think we will get 10 points for 9.4.2 for our food scrap recycling program. We should be able to get rolling credit. And just the fact that, this went out with the last tax bill shows that it's current. So
Okay.
we should get 10 points there.
So
we
10
should leave
points,
that as
10 points planned is the right combination.
yes.
Okay. 10, optimal health and wellness opportunities. Develop and promote community growing spaces, and that says it's completed for 15 points. Okay, moving on. 11, excuse me.
11 is me. I have completed everything. Everything has been reviewed. I added some information after Lily reviewed it. But I feel pretty confident with the 70 points across these three categories.
Okay.
Great.
So going on to 12, compassionate homelessness prevention. We know that Cliff has been our go-to on this area. 12.1, strengthen municipal workforce capacity to address homelessness. That's listed as completed with 20 points. Is that accurate, Cliff?
Yeah, I think so. I mean,
Okay.
that's what I've applied for, I'm pretty sure. I don't know why there's an incomplete field there on 12.2. I'll have to go in and look, I guess.
Craig may be able to see on that if
Yeah,
it's the same
I think
thing.
it's this last thing again.
Yeah.
So it's a previously completed action, an action influenced by sustainable CT, or a new action inspired by sustainable CT.
I can't remember what the action was.
It's
Increase public awareness.
well, actually, there's no information completed in this one. There's no documents. There's no narratives. This category is increased public awareness.
It's 12.2.
Yeah.
12.2.
Is that the resolution, Cliff?
Municipal resolution. Oh, that's why nothing's there. It's the municipal resolution. So I don't know if we're going to get that or not.
I'm going to move it to unplanned at this point because there's no indication that it's moving forward.
Well, actually, I think did you get any response, Carolyn, when you sent the thing in?
Yes, I did. Yes, I don't have that email open right now, but I'll share that with you.
Well, I mean, is she gonna put the resolution in front of them or not?
The resolution has to be reworded, and I can't speak off the top of my head as to what needed to be changed, but it needs to incorporate what the Department of Human Services is currently doing to address homelessness.
I see.
I'll share the email with you.
So that's still possible then, because I mean, I can help Allie with that.
Sounds good.
That's still possible.
Okay.
12.3 was collect and share homelessness data. That's listed as completed with 5 points.
Yep.
Okay. And 12.4, mobilize or resources, 15 points.
I think they're good.
Okay, so those all, have they been looked at by Lily and Liam and folks, or?
I'm not sure which ones they've looked at and which ones they haven't, to be honest. I've sent them so many different bits and pieces.
Sure.
Lily, do you want to follow up at some point on 12.1, 12.3, and 12.4?
Yes, I believe I've looked at 12.3 and 12.4, but I can go over it today and just make sure that everything is all good.
Thank you.
And we filled it all out. Okay, thank you, Lily. Which brings us down to 13, which is not needed, but
we have something.
yes,
I've done-
but anybody want to talk about any they have, and then I can end with what I have.
Well, I've done a write-up for the slow down in town.
Yes.
I've sent it to one of the police commissioners who was instrumental in the program being developed. There were a series of questions raised about it, which I've also sent to him to see if he can answer them. I think we have something there. And I would expect to be able to submit it.
Okay. And I have been working on understanding a program that was developed between the town and volunteers called Project Buddy Up, that established, how do I say it? Established a partnership with volunteers as attendees to Parks and Rec programs that would enable children in the community that might not otherwise be able to participate on their own to attend group activities sponsored by Parks and Rec. The program was advertised and implemented this summer, and the work is ongoing to run additional programs in the fall brochure for Parks and Rec. So there is a collaboration between Parks and Rec, the volunteers that establish the buddy program themselves, that recruit the volunteers, which are generally children, teenagers that do this as volunteer. And in addition, there was a collaboration with the ABC program to engage some of the ABC students to participate, as they are required as part of their stay at ABC to volunteer a certain number of hours per quarter or per semester. So they're looking to expand the volunteer network and develop some training and an ongoing sort of service opportunity in town. So I will be writing it up to apply to use in the equity toolkit and here as a need that was identified by parents in the community who have children that might not be able to attend programs on their own, and then a program and a system that would enable them to be there is was advertised and implemented this summer. So hopefully that makes sense. I had a conversation with Jessica Leclerc yesterday, who is a sustainable CT manager, program director, who thought that it sounded like it was worthy and could meet criteria, as long as I were to write it from the point of view of the work that was done when the need was surfaced, and how the people who expressed the need and the people who are implementing the need work together to build the program. And then the ongoing assessment is, I think, what just happened last week, as they looked at it and are talking about how they're going to implement it in the fall. So that's my 13. I from a point standpoint, I don't know if it's 10 points for an action. I think we can go to 13 and certainly put down 1 at this point, whether it's Cliff's or mine or both. I mean, mine we need for the equity. So Craig, I don't know if at the bottom, and Cliff's would be a bonus.
Yeah, it's there right now. It's as planned for 20 points.
Okay, which would be two different actions. Both the one I'm working on and the one that Cliff is working on. Because I think they're 10 points per. 5 to 20 points. Well, it's 5 to 20
seems like a
points
subjective
per
one.
semester.
You can get 5 to
okay. Got
5 to 20 per submission.
it.
It's
As I read,
subjective. So yeah.
as I read your little words again, yeah, there's some numbers in there.
Yeah, sorry. Well, I'm saying them out loud. So it's
Yeah,
fine.
I know you are. No, I'm
Okay.
just trying to read as you move, and it's so
Well,
tiny.
so here's the summary, by the way. So we've
Yeah.
gone through, and everything now that we have completed is 200 points. Yay! In 8 to 12 categories, but we have action items in the other 4 categories that seem inevitable. And if we
So
click,
we should have over 300 points on our application when we submit it.
well, right now, between planned and completed, there is a total potential for 445
Yeah,
points. Now, we know that we're not going to get some of those,
right,
but applying for silver is not out of the question if we accrue 400 points.
right. Okay. It's 1:06. We're
Time to go.
past our stopping time. Does anyone else have anything that they would like to say? I just want to ask Lily a question before we go. Does anyone do you feel that we should meet again next week just to kind of reconvene, compare notes, discuss issues, and if so, what day?
I just have a quick comment. Cliff and I had corresponded a little bit about 3.11, which was not on this list, and
Okay.
I think I can get that done, Cliff. The spreadsheet hasn't left my second screen here since I opened it up. I've talked to the Parks and Rec guy. I think it's just a matter of me sitting down with him for a few hours, and then the Board of Ed is a little bit more of a variable. But let's not give up on that yet. Let me just, if you give me a little bit more time, I'll see how much time I need to put into it and
So
whether.
which category are you looking at there?
Green grounds.
I think it was 311.
Yeah, it's green grounds.
Implement green
grounds
grounds.
management.
I'm just trying to
Yes.
assess how many points might be coming. There's best management practices, ground treatment best management practices.
It was just the inventory piece of it.
The inventory
Craig.
piece. Okay.
Yes.
That one would be 10 points if we create the inventory. All right. I'll put that in
Okay.
as 10 planned.
So
Okay.
Tony, if you're saying hours, a few hours, I'm not sure that I would ask you to do it, especially if we don't get the Board of Ed, because without the Board of Ed, they're probably not going to approve it anyway.
Yeah, but let me talk to the guy at Board of Ed. I talked to him about
Okay.
other things, so.
Okay. Very good.
Okay.
If I can help in any way, let me know, because I'm totally willing and available.
You got it.
Tony, just do we know relative, would they approve it with or without the Board of Ed? But what percentage of the land maintenance in the overall scheme is
I
Board
don't
of Ed
know.
versus yeah.
Yeah, I don't know, because they have so many synthetic turf fields now. It's
Mm.
reducing, but they still have plenty of grass too. So
Okay.
I'm not sure.
Okay.
It has to be significant, don't you think, Tony?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think we would ever get away with saying what they're doing is insignificant.
Right.
Okay, so what about meeting next week? Do we want to have a meeting next week, a quick meeting just to compare notes again, or what do you all want to do?
I personally don't feel the need for a meeting next week, but I would like at the end of this meeting to have a brief chat with you and Kathy and Lily, if possible. And anyone else who wants to stay is welcome, but we've run out of time, and I want to cover couple points.
Right, and Lily, I wanted to ask you, how long do we have you and Liam to help us with our application? Because I know 3 years ago, I think we only had until early August.
I think we should be with you through the deadline.
Oh,
I think
okay,
both of us will
great.
be with. Yep.
Okay.
Carolyn, I'm not available next week. That wouldn't be a
Okay.
reason not to meet, but I would think that I know that we probably ought to have a goal
The week
to speak
after?
the week of the 25th to the 29th. I know then you will be away in early August. So I think 14, sometime maybe the
So
27th
Kathy,
is a
you're back the
Wednesday.
week of the 25th?
Yeah, I'm not available next week, but maybe 2 weeks out, because that's
The
going to be our,
27th? Is that
yeah,
okay with everyone at 12 o'clock? Lily, is
just do
that good for you?
Lily or Liam if
Yes,
he's
that does
back.
work.
Okay. All right.
Right.
So I'll set up a meeting and send out an agenda. And that gives us 2 weeks to kind of like, we should have a better idea. We should have a lot more uploaded by then. We should have a better sense of our total point count. Should be
Right,
good.
and then anything that's left, that's the final to-do list would have to be, we'd know that before the
Okay.
end of July.
Okay. Great. Do I have,
Okay.
is there any, if there's nothing else, do I have a, I know Cliff, do
I
we have a
move to
motion to adjourn?
adjourn.
Okay, second? Okay, all in
Second.
favor? So we are adjourning at 1:11. Thank you, everyone. I'm turning
Thank
off
you.
the recording.